Ghosts and Goblins was an early Capcom game for the NES, part of the 1986 lineup, right when the NES was moving beyond its black box series of launch window games. This version is often referred to as a gimped port of the arcade version, and as such is criticized for its sluggish gameplay, control, and brutal difficulty. This game is infamous among the gaming public and hated by many of old school gamers. People put it with Battletoads, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and TMNT as one of the hardest games on the console. I've never personally seen past the first level until more recently, when I decided to buckle down and dig in. Starting with the control, it does feel a tad sluggish. Jumping is slow and you don't have a lot of momentum, so often your jumps feel very wrong, and the enemies are speedy and shoot projectiles everywhere. Most people can't even make it past the first red devil midway through stage 1, as his swooping patterns are swift and devious. He can be skipped as most can, but eventually in the last level you're forced to face one amidst the chaos, and I think this is sort of a brilliant thing from a design standpoint, that right before you take on the penultimate boss, two Satans with a similar pattern to the demons, it allows you to purge your fears and finally forces you to kill one and get that satisfaction. Honestly, the difficulty of this game is overstated quite a bit. It's hard, sure, but Ninja Gaiden was a lot harder. While I beat the whole first 5 levels in one long night, the 6th and final level is the one that really kept me from beating this game. Each stage had their own challenge. The platforming in level 2, the onslaught and marathon of devils in level 3, the chaotic bridge and dragon of level 4, the endurance round of challenging and misleading paths in level 5, and of course, the boss rush, the damn red devils, and those jumping skulls, the trolls that waste your valuable fucking time, those fucking randomly spawning ghosts, and by god, the weapons that if you grab, you're absolutely fucked because you need the shield to not be trolled back 2 levels. 3 hits, 3 minutes, no checkpoints, get good or give up. You can get all the way to the end and have a ghost spawn right on top of you in the boss room and die, having to do it all over again. When you beat it, you'll have it down to a fucking science. This brings me to my main point about this game. This game, like many hard games, is all about patience. You have unlimited continues. It's you and your sanity's fault if you pussy out. This game is beatable. You can do it! With a stage select code, something built into the game so I don't consider it a cheat anyway, this game is completely bearable. From a fun standpoint though, you'd do better to choose something else. This game has fun elements, but ultimately the frustration kills any real want other than bragging rights to finish the game. It's a rushed port and thus it was not extremely well thought out. There's not really a balance of fun and frustration. It's like 85% dying in a stupid way, like bad jumps, a relentless enemy, or fucking randomly spawning ghosts, and the other part is somewhat enjoyable. Overall, this game's reputation of being one of the hardest games ever isn't really true. Anybody can beat it with some practice, and after all, that's how most old NES games were. It wasn't that NES games were unfairly hard by any means. In some ways they were, but still. They just expected you to have time to invest, so that you could master the mechanics and the levels. This is a somewhat fun game. I liked pushing through to some degree, but it's incredibly flawed and it feels very cheap at times. And yes, before I get a bunch of hate, I know I only beat it once, but fuck doing it all again. I know the second round's some sort of hard mode and it gives you the real ending, but I couldn't be bothered. I've got other games to play. It'll basically be the same experience anyway, and we all know it's one of the lamest gimmicks of all time to have to beat the game twice for the real ending. My final score is a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to keep it classic and stick around for more reviews and underrated games. See ya!